So, expected. This fight was very close. Just like I told you, a lot of people Derevyanchenko, because even though a lot of people thought it was going to be a good fight, they was leaning toward Daniel Jacob. Was too. I picked Daniel Jacob to win. I felt with his height and reach advantage, he pulled it off, but Derevyanchenko had an easier time getting in the inside than I expected. Which, with his head movement, I didn't doubt it. I mean, Golovkin is a distance fighter. Derevyanchenko, he had to get in the inside with all the disadvantages he had. That's his style. You know what I'm saying? So it was a great fight. It was back and forth, but Daniel Jacob know how to fight in the inside, and shit, he was with it. He brought it. It was a good fight, and the right guy won, but it was a very close fight. I'm interested to see Derevyanchenko in there with Charlo, with all the top guys, really. Like, I don't mind seeing him with any of the top guys because he fought a hell of a fight, and I wouldn't mind seeing him versus Golovkin. Let's not forget Golovkin got stripped of the IBF belt because he didn't want to fight the man. Y'all seen why tonight, and Daniel Jacob seemed like he gonna get the Canelo fight next because it's a fight where he won, but where he looked vulnerable as well. So Canelo could be looking at this and like saying, hey, I think I could take this guy. But one thing for sure, Derevyanchenko is good as hell. So, I mean, at the end of the day, when Jacob versus Canelo is still a great fight. That's a 50-50 fight as well. Canelo, he a polished fighter. He been on that pro level for a long time. Derevyanchenko is new to the pro, but he had hell of an amateur background, and he's in his prime right now. So, it was a great fight. The right guy won, in my opinion, like I said. But at the end of the day, shit, I'm about to miss my steps, the exit and shit. But yeah, so what's next? Most likely, like I said, for Daniel Jacob, he ain't even gonna fight Charlo, I believe. I believe Canelo's looking at it. Look, hey, I could fight Jacob, and if I beat this guy, I have 3 belts in the middleweight division, and then I don't have to fight a tough fight till 2020. Because if you fight Daniel Jacob in 2019 in May, you best believe that September he ain't gonna fight a tough fight. He probably fight a Lemieux. Then he won't have to fight a Daniel Jacob. I mean, not a Daniel Jacob. He won't have to fight a Charlo or an Andre, assuming he wins, till 2020. So he might get stripped, he might get not if he don't fight Charlo. But I just see him taking the Jacob fight at this point because it's rewarding, and he gonna feel like, because Daniel Jacob last 2 fights been very close. He edged him, but they've been close, and Daniel Jacob didn't use his height that like he should have. I mean, like I said, credit to Derevyanchenko, but still, with the height advantage and reach advantage, I mean, shit, Daniel Jacob should have fought and controlled the distance way better than he did. But at the end of the day, like I said, credit goes out to Derevyanchenko, but I just don't see him. I don't see Jacob fighting Charlo next, like I said, because shit, with the Canelo fight on the line, and he talking about he chasing titles, that's the fight he's most likely getting next, unless Canelo got something other in mind, like if he stays at 168 and he trying to let the 160 division play out, see who's gonna come out on top, because the 160 division is heated. We got Andre, we got Charlo, we got Jacob, we still got Derevyanchenko, in my opinion. We got Canelo, like I said, like they just got it, man. If they do a small little tournament like Super 6 and they all fight each other, that'd be one hell of a tournament. But what I'm saying, that sounds too good to happen in boxing at this point. But at the end of the day, like I said, she, I still believe that Charlo is the #1 guy in the division, or has potential to be the #1 guy in the division. And him versus Andrade, I still feel like that's the fight that's going to be like the Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford at 147. That's that fight at 160. And we'll see. But like when y'all saw Danny Jacob versus Derevyanchenko, the reason why a lot of people felt like, hey man, they were doing the most. Like Danny Jacob was switching stands like too damn much. Derevyanchenko was a little wild. He was kind of, hopping for position in a way. But they were doing all that because they were already too familiar with each other. Like they done sparred each other hella times. Like Derevyanchenko had the same trainer that Danny Jacob had. So they always sparred each other. So they were too familiar with each other. When you're so familiar with a person like that, you try to do some new shit. And that's what they probably was working in the camp, to work on something that, they not used to seeing. So that's why you saw Danny Jacob switch too much. At times it was unnecessary. And that's why you see Derevyanchenko half a position, because trying to show Danny Jacob something new. And hey, still was a good fight though. But like I said, we'll see. I still want to see Derevyanchenko with somebody like at the top level, like a Charlo, a Andre, a Golovkin, anybody, because I want to see how he's gonna look versus somebody he's not too familiar with. And if that was to his advantage or disadvantage with Jacob, you know what I'm saying? Because we seen Tarver when he used to spar, he sparred Roy Jones all the damn time. So when Roy Jones got to a point where he lost all the weight coming down from heavyweight, I mean, Tarver already seen Roy Jones. Like, I mean, he didn't seen his speed. Like, a lot of people that fight Roy Jones, is his style and awkwardness and speed that shocks them, and he hurts them early and gets them out. But with Tarver, like I said, he was too familiar with Roy Jones. What's up with the stream, man? But yeah, so by the time, that fight took place, Jones done got worse, got older, lost a lot of weight, lost a lot of his reflexes. He never had good fundamentals as far as his defense. Like, he never put his hands up. He relies on reflexes and all that shit, his gift. So by the time Tarver fought him, Tarver was at his best, and he already seen him so many times, so it was to his advantage. So I would like to see how, Derevyanchenko look at the top level versus a top fighter he not too familiar with. But I feel like he just got the goods. It's just that he fought a better, I mean, it was just Danny Jacob night tonight. I mean, they could fight 3 times, and all 3 times it will be close. And from now on, that's how it's gonna be, because you see Derevyanchenko landing nice body shots, but at the end of the day, like I said, they're too familiar with each other that it's always gonna be a close fight if they fight. But credit goes to both. Like I said, that was a underrated fight. A lot of people slept on that fight. They didn't think, or a lot of people slept on Derevyanchenko just because they haven't seen him before. But like I said, Golovkin avoided him for a reason. Golovkin had a full camp. He didn't want to take that fight. He was like, he didn't want none of that smoke, because he knew Derevyanchenko from the amateurs and how good he was. So even though he had a full camp and Derevyanchenko was taking this fight on a short notice, shit, he decided not to because of that. And let's not forget, Derevyanchenko was down to fight Andrade as well, for the IBF Eliminator. And it was actually Andrade that was kind of like, I don't know too much about that. And he said he needed more time to prepare for the fight, even though he did have like kind of a decent amount of times. But that should show you that Derevyanchenko was a risky fighter, and y'all have to give Daniel Jacob his credit instead of saying, "Ah, oh, yeah, Daniel Jacob, he keep having these close fights." Yo, I'm trying to tell y'all, he fighting top level fighters. You know, they might not be the Andrade and Charlos, but that's the best, closest thing to that. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather see. I mean, you know, don't get me wrong now. Charlo, that's my guy. You know what I mean? Like, and I know people avoiding him left to right. But yeah, I do rather see Daniel Jacob versus Derevyanchenko than Charlo versus Monroe. Because Charlo versus Monroe is a matter of a fight how Charlo going to look instead of if he's going to win or not. You know what I'm saying? You know, how you going to win instead of if you're going to win. That's the difference between Daniel Jacob versus Charlo fight that they having, because Daniel fight was like a 50-50 fight. You don't know who was gonna win. You know, I thought Daniel Jacob was gonna win, but at the end of the day, like, it was a 50-50 fight. I seen Derevyanchenko, he had a chance for sure. So it was like I said, it's still a top level fight. But him versus Charlo, it'd be interesting in the future. I don't know, just by this performance, I'll probably have to favor Charlo at this point. But hey, Danny Jacob, the miracle man. He always pull off miracles and shit, so he probably pull off another one. But go ahead, click on that like button. And like I said, Danny Jacob won that Canelo fight because that's the money fight in the division. Who wouldn't? You know what I mean? So Danny Jacob is with the smoke. He's willing to fight everybody. I'm assuming the last guy he will fight in the division is Andrade, because they keep talking about they homeboys and shit, but they willing to fight each other for the right amount. So, you know, I'm pretty sure Danny Jacob will rather take the Charlo fights and Canelo fights, depending who he signs with. If he signs with Showtime, then, you know, most likely the Charlo fight will happen. If he signs with DAZN, which that's most likely the move he's gonna have to do to get the Canelo fight, then he gonna fight Canelo. Just depends what Eddie Hearn could promise him. If Eddie Hearn could promise him the Canelo fight, he's going to DAZN. If not, then he better off going to Al Heyman. But that's a risky approach, because you out there going to the Lions then, and he out here talking about he tamed the Lions. So if you tamed the Lions, then you got to make it do what it do. You got to get in there in the ring with the Lions. So subscribe below if you're trying to get smarter by the minute. If you're trying to get dumb about a second, don't. Listen to these casual ass fans, and click on that like button one time. You know what I'm saying? Show love and support. And like I said, it was a hell of a fight. You know, entertaining fight, back and forth. And it was always that element of danger in the fight that you didn't know what was gonna happen at a certain point. You're like, man, shit. You know, Danny Jacob hurt Derevyanchenko at times. Derevyanchenko hurt Danny Jacob. You know what I mean? So it was the flows back and forth. You never knew, but Danny Jacob just pulled it, in my opinion. You know, he won more rounds, but a lot of rounds was very close. That, you know, could have went back and forth. But hey, that's boxing. You know what I'm saying? You win some, you lose some. Like I said, Danny Jacob edged it, and I'm glad they gave him the fight, because he been screwed before. So, you know what I'm saying? At least he didn't get screwed twice versus somebody, versus a foreign fighter. So, hey, you know what I mean? We'll see what's Danny Jacob next move.